with the whisper, and that was when I kissed her, and then she made my lips hurt. I could hear the chit-chat, tape it to your love shack. Mama's always got a backtrack when everybody talks back.
So, this is a story that, I mean, the New York Times started reporting about this in March, I want to say. And the NFL cheerleaders really have been overlooked. In this Me Too world, who would have thought that they would come out and really raise their voices? I thought that we'd be seeing a lot of sports media personnel. I thought they would really be, I guess, taken down a peg by the Me Too movement.
Honestly, this story is so scary, and I did not even know about it before reading about it for the show, which is just terrifying because these cheerleaders have been totally abused. The workforce, the environment, the culture, the rules that they make them live by, their pay, it is just totally horrifying in every way.
So I want to play a short clip from Michelle Beadle. She's on Get Up, a morning show on ESPN. And people are saying, oh, it's not getting good ratings. I'm like, well, she has amazing commentary. Oh, gosh. Anyway, so I'm going to play this clip quickly, and then Sophie and I are going to discuss the many layers of this, because there's a lot here.
New York Times has reported a disturbing story about the Washington Redskins cheerleading team. Several former cheerleaders for the team have detailed a 2013 week-long trip to Costa Rica where they were required to pose topless for a photo shoot while spectators invited by the team looked on. Now, some of the cheerleaders were then required to attend a nightclub event as escorts for some of the team's male sponsors, according to the Times. The cheerleaders said there was no sex involved, but they felt the team was, quote, pimping us out. The team has responded with the following statement. Each Redskin cheerleader is contractually protected to ensure a safe and constructive environment. The work our cheerleaders do in our community, visiting our troops abroad, and supporting our team on the field is something the Redskins organization and our fans take great pride in. Now, there will be people today who will argue or say, well, why do we still have cheerleading and why this and that? That is not where the focus should be on this story. I think a lot of women, and I think where we are in this current climate right now, is that we're sick and tired of that being the ultimate response to a story like this. The story to this is women should be allowed to do the things they love to do, and if cheerleading is one of those passions you have, do it. What they don't need to endure is the behavior and the entitlement of certain men who have decided that these women are objects deemed for their entertainment, and that's all. I don't need women to change what they're doing. I need men to change what they're doing. And this story just runs the gamut of everything that it could possibly go wrong as far as this type of situation.
So, Sophie, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think there's a really important distinction to make, because this is something that the New York Times pointed out in their reporting, that there are sort of these two different animals in the cheerleading world. So one is this that you see in the NFL, that's sort of these sideline dancers. They're very much there for entertainment, and they are essentially sex objects. And then there's the world of competitive cheerleading, where there's a lot of acrobatics, and you'll see co-ed teams mostly often. So it's really two different things that we're talking about here. And in this other world, in the NFL, in sports, these women are really degraded. They're made to wear revealing outfits. They're treated really awfully with so many rules and regulations about what they can post on social media, what nail polish they can wear. There's even in one of the rule books talks about how they should clean their genitals and use tampons. These women are just treated horribly. They're made to pay for their uniforms in some cases. They're fined if they forget parts of their uniform. They're paid so minimally between all of the practices and rehearsals and games, calendar photo shoots, community service events they have to go to. And it's terrible. And the NFL teams say that they're doing this to protect them. There's been issues with women being stalked by fans in the past, but they're really using that as an excuse to control these women and to treat them really awfully. And, the reason, if there are fans who, when they are at events and the fans are groping them or saying things to them, in one New York Times piece, it talked about how one cheerleader was told by a fan that he hoped she got raped. If people are treating them like this, it's because the teams are presenting them as sex objects. They're not treating them like people.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the distinction here, because there are people who get college scholarships to cheerlead. Mm-hmm. This is taken seriously. This is a legitimate sport. I respect, or let me take a couple steps back here. I think there is a lot of hard work involved in that sport. And people love it. And not just women participate in this. There are men who love this too. We had a cheerleading team here. And now it's sort of evolved into, I think there's now like a dance team as well.
There's one team in the NFL, I'm blanking on which team it is right now, but they just recently announced that they're bringing on 2 cheerleaders onto their cheerleading team. 2 male cheerleaders.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, I think I saw that story as well. And so, we're even looking at this this whole narrative about sort of, what men and women are expected to do. And I spoke about this even in my column about baseball and softball, which is that we have to be giving men these opportunities too. So why don't we say, if young boys want to play softball, yeah, let them do it. If young women want to play baseball, let them do it. I think the same thing goes here. So yeah, the LA Rams, first ever male cheerleaders in NFL history.
Yeah, and the issue goes just so much further than that, because these women, part of the reason I think the Me Too movement hasn't caught fire as much with these women, because we haven't heard as much about their stories, and these people haven't been fired, things haven't changed, is because the teams are doing so much to sort of quiet their stories. And so some of the women came forward with lawsuits. One woman who was fired for posting an Instagram in which she was in a lace bodysuit, she filed a discrimination case, and one of the parts of the lawsuit is that the team cannot disband their cheerleading team for 5 years, because that is what they would do in this case. So they just say, we're just gonna shut it down, get rid of it. And there are so many other instances of that, of them just trying to make this go away.
But also, so what do you make of this whole thing with Roger Goodell? So this lawyer that represents 2 of the cheerleaders, their settlement proposal is this: if her clients can have a 4-hour quote-unquote good faith meeting with Roger Goodell and league lawyers, they will settle all claims for $1 each. There was an op-ed on Slate which sort of said that they're not pushing hard enough. They should push harder than that.
Yeah, I definitely think that they are entitled to a lot more than that, and I think that they could win. I think the point of it is that they're trying to show that they were treated misfairly, and they really want to be heard, because the organizations have done so much to say, we're doing this for your protection, all of these rules, and everything that we're doing is right, and they just want them to say, it's not, and you've been treating us unfairly, and we want you to recognize that. But for sure, they could probably win a lot more money.
So, what do you think? So, do you think NFL cheerleaders should be banned? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I don't think they should be banned. I'd agree with Michelle in that clip. The idea isn't that we should just get rid of sort of these institutions that may seem a little sexist or come from were started sort of from sexist intentions, but ultimately the conversation should be women should be allowed to do what they want. That is what feminism is. It doesn't mean like all women should be in high paid jobs, whatever. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, be a stay-at-home mom, and it's the freedom to be able to choose. So these women who, even though they're not doing these acrobatic cheerleading, the dance is still very intense, and they're very, very talented, and 100% they should be able to do what they want to do and be treated as people and as humans with feelings and, have their security protected and be paid.
I hope that this story does not die down. Sports media needs to be talking about it. Everyone needs to be talking about it. I mean, to me, this is like not the sports version of the Harvey Weinstein story, but I feel like it has the potential for it. I think this harrowing tale in Costa Rica could be just the beginning. You see on every single article here, I sent Sophie maybe like 7 articles. You see at the bottom, it says, we would like to hear from current and former college cheerleaders or dancers for college sports and their experiences. And I think they ask for professional cheerleaders as well, or for professional sports as well. So the Times is very dedicated to this story, as they should be. Sophie, thank you so much for doing as much research, reading, and analysis on this story. We could honestly spend a whole show talking about this.
Well, thank you for having me on. I very much enjoyed it.